Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at the Neca Ultimate Wellhouse Pennywise. And as I always say before I review some Neca horror figure, I'm not a huge horror fan, so Pennywise isn't something that I'm drawn to personally. I think that it's a cool looking character. I think that this new Bill Skarsgård version is much more interesting than the Tim Curry version, even though I haven't seen the Tim Curry It movie in years. I saw it when I was a kid. I never really went back to it. And I'll be honest with you, I've never even seen the new version of it until yesterday when I got this figure. I got this figure and I didn't want to do this review uninformed. So last night I sat down and watched it, and actually I really liked it. It didn't feel like a horror movie to me, actually. It felt like Stranger Things or something, but with just some more blood. But yeah, I actually really enjoyed the movie, and I'm happy that I finally took the time to watch the movie, and now I'm really excited about this figure. And this is the third version of this Pennywise that NECA's done so far in this scale. They've done a standard version, they've done a GameStop version that was a little bit more bloody than the other one, and they even still have one more version coming out that's like an ultimate version of what he looked like at the end of the movie when he was fighting the kids and stuff. But anyways, let's get into this, starting off with the packaging. I think it looks very cool. You have the balloon in the center with Pennywise kind of in there. It's really hard to see. I didn't even notice it until just a few minutes ago. And then you have the house there in the background that looks cool. And then on the side of the box, you get a look at Bill Skarsgård as Pennywise, and very creepy and cool. And then on the back, you get a look at some of the different accessories that he comes with, all the different heads that he comes with and stuff like that. Then you have the 3 doors there that the kids are trying to go through and stuff. On this side, you have another look at Bill Skarsgård. And yeah, I think the packaging is very cool. You could open it up. You could see the figure there. And then you got some more artwork over here where he's in the clown room, it looks like. And I like the collector friendly packaging that NECA uses. It looks very cool. You could display it closed and it looks interesting, or you could display it open so that you could see the figure, and you could even take the figure out if you like and put it back in. So anyways, that is the packaging. Now let's get into the figure. Okay, so here he is out of the box, and this is a really nice looking figure, which is really no surprise because the other versions have been out for a while. So if you're like involved in the action figure community and you follow a bunch of different action figure pages, chances are you've seen a bunch of really cool pictures of this figure. So I'm not really surprised by what I'm seeing here, but it looks very nice. The one thing I am a little surprised by is the cloth material. I mean, the sculpted material of the suit that he's wearing. It looks a little shiny, which is weird. I thought it would look more like actual clothing, but maybe that's intentional because he's kind of like a weird shapeshifter, It's not like he's actually wearing clothes. So, I don't know. I mean, I'm okay with that. It just caught me by surprise a little bit. But yeah, I think the sculpting on this guy is really nice. Obviously, NECA always does a great job with sculpting. And this figure is very interesting to look at. So, he's got a lot of cool things going on. A lot of details everywhere. Obviously, the main attraction with this figure here is the different heads, but we'll take a really close look at all of the different heads that he comes with in just a minute. But this is the head that was on him in the box, and it does look creepy and cool. You've got the nasty teeth. The detail on the hair looks nice. But yeah, just overall, the detail on the figure is really good, very well sculpted. All the joints are very well hidden. None of them look very ugly. On some NECA figures, the double jointed elbow situation looks a little strange because it's big, but I think it works perfectly fine for Pennywise. It doesn't look awkward at all because he's kind of just awkward looking by nature, so it works out fine. On the more human looking figures, it doesn't always look as good there, but yeah, I think this is cool. And then right here you have like this big puffy piece that leaves a bunch of room for articulation, which is nice, but it still kind of hinders it. But it's soft plastic, so that's cool. But yeah, this is a very cool looking figure. A lot of great details all over this thing. Okay, so now for the head sculpts. He comes with 4 different ones, and none of them are just like a relaxed face like we saw on the first version of the NECA Pennywise. So first off, we have this one, and this is like his more monstrous type of look. You've got the crazy kind of teeth. He's still, for the most part, looks like creepy regular Pennywise, but just with crazy looking teeth. And then you have the eyes that you could see there. You have some nice sculpt work with the wrinkles up in here that you could see. Very nice detail on the hair and all that good stuff. But yeah, that's very creepy and cool looking, so I do like that one. And then next up we have this one where he's starting to look a lot more monstrous and demonic. And then you've got the crazy eyes going in opposite direction, which I guess that Bill Skarsgård was actually doing that and it wasn't CGI. So that's a cool little fact that I learned when I was researching this movie. But yeah, I think this face looks cool too. It's very scary. And I'm sure that was very traumatic for the kids having to see that when this was attacking them. But it looks very good. The sculpting work is nice. Again, you have the wrinkles on the forehead that look very good. And again, the hair looks great too. And then next we have this head sculpt. And this was actually not part of the well house scene. This was before that. This is when they were watching that film and then Pennywise was showing up in the projected film that they were watching. And I thought it was really interesting that they included this head sculpt because that scene didn't last very long, or at least when he had this facial expression, that was kind of quick. It was pretty scary though, so I thought that was pretty cool that they threw this in there. And again, they did a good job with it. All these sculpts are very good, and you know, Neca is obviously awesome when it comes to sculpting. And then finally, we have this head that has the fire poker that's sticking through it, and this is removable. I had a little trouble putting it through the head when I first opened it, but then I realized that if you kind of line it up with the sculpted like channels in the hair, then you're able to just put it right through. But if you try to go through the opposite way, it kind of gets stuck. But anyways, I was able to get it in there, and I like this a lot too. This is awesome. And in addition to the 4 heads that he comes with, he also comes with multiple sets of hands, including a pair of open, kind of dramatic looking hands. And then he has another set of hands. I'm not really sure how to describe them, but it looks like he's kind of making a pinching gesture, or I guess it could be used for gripping hands, even though he really doesn't have anything that he would be holding on to. But as you can see, he can grip onto the fire poker. Actually, now that I think about it, I don't even know if this is a fire poker thing. It's just kind of like a metal rod or something that got stuck through his face, and it's a pretty soft plastic, so I guess it could be warped if you're not careful, but for the most part it's pretty cool. And you can actually see some like blood on there, so that's a pretty nice little detail that they threw on this accessory. And then he does come with one more hand, and it's like a clawed, kind of monstrous looking hand for his right side. I do wish that he came with 2 of these. I think it's kind of strange that it only came with 1, but it does look very nice. And just to give you an idea of how big he is, here's a couple size comparisons with the Mezco 112 Collective Michael Myers and the Neca Halloween Ultimate Michael Myers. And then now here we have the Neca Planet of the Apes Caesar and the Marvel Select comic book Spider-Man. And then now here we have him with the Black Series Boba Fett and the Mezco 112 Collective Iron Man. And then of course, as always, here's a comparison with the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And the articulation on Pennywise is pretty good. There's nothing crazy innovative or groundbreaking, but for the most part, you could get him into any type of poses that you'd want a character like this to get into. So let's check it out here. His head is able to move side to side, and that's pretty much it, because the collar piece and the hair kind of hinder any type of up and down or tilt movement. So for the most part, he can only look up to about there. And you could bring his head up off the peg a little bit if you want to get a little more movement, but then he doesn't look as creepy as he does when his head is all the way down, because it kind of looks like he's being choked or something like that. He looks a little creepier like that. So you know, but if you do want to get a little bit more movement, you could bring his head up. And you know, there isn't really any tilt because this is all in the way. He does look down a little bit, so that's pretty good because most of his victims are very short and smaller than him, so that works out pretty good. And then for the torso, all he has is a waist joint, so the waist joint allows him to twist side to side, but he really can't tilt, can't really crunch forward or anything, only crunches forward a slight tiny bit. Same thing going back, not too much going back at all. And like I said, not much tilt side to side. So, you know, not very good articulation in the torso area there. But then for the arms, they do go all the way around. They could come out to the side. He has upper bicep swivel, and I like this a lot because it's very well hidden in the ruffles in the arm, so that's really cool. And then you have the double jointed elbows, and you also have a swivel at the forearm, or where the elbow joint meets the forearm. You get a swivel out of that if you'd like. And then for the hands, you have a swivel and a hinge. And his sleeves are very soft plastic, so they don't get in the way of the articulation, so that's nice. And then for the legs, I wish I could say the same thing, but this thing here is definitely blocking the articulation. It does leave, there's a bunch of space in here, so you could get some movement, you know, so I do appreciate that they did that. And I guess there was really no other way to do this without cutting this up or something, so I'm fine with what they did here. But I would have liked to have been able to get Pennywise into some sitting down poses, because in the movie there was definitely some times when he was sitting on the floor with his legs out looking all creepy. But anyways, his legs are able to go forward to about there. They come back to about there, and they could come to the side. I'm always nervous with NECA joints, but here we go. His legs do come out to the side to about there. And then you have a upper thigh swivel, double jointed knees, and I guess you could do a swivel here at the lower knee where this joint meets the actual knee joint. Get some movement out of that too, so if you want to, you know, bring them out to the side or something, you can do that. It's probably not necessary though. And then for the lower leg, or for the feet area, you have a rocker, and then his feet could come out to the front to about there, and then come forward only to about there, and then the shoelaces kind of get in the way. But yeah, like I said, for the most part, I think I'm pretty happy with the articulation. I would have liked if he had a little bit more going on in the torso, so you could kind of get him hunched over and kind of have him looking creepy like that, a little more like intimidating. But I guess it's not that necessary, you know? I mean, for the most part, I think you could get Pennywise into the all the types of poses that you would like a character like this to get into. So I'm pretty happy with the articulation. Okay, so overall, even though Pennywise and horror in general is not really my thing, I'm a really big fan of this figure. I think that NECA did a really nice job with it. I love the sculpted details on him. I like all the different heads that he comes with. I do wish that he came with 2 of those weird monstrous hands, but other than that, there's really no like flaws with this. Oh, and also I do wish there was a little more articulation in the torso. But other than those 2 tiny gripes, I have no real like big problems with this figure. It's a lot of fun. It's an accurate depiction of the character on screen, and I'm just, you know, I appreciate this figure because it made me go check out the movie, and it's a movie that I've, you know, been somewhat interested in, but I just never sat down and watched it. But since I got the figure, I had a good excuse to sit down and watch it, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that Pennywise was really cool to watch, all the crazy things that he would do. He was very interesting, and you know, it was just a good movie in general, you know. So I was happy that I watched it. Now I'm happy to have this figure, and I really admire NECA's commitment to the characters that they make, because they really go all out, you know. So with Pennywise, he has all kinds of different looks in the movies and stuff like that, and by the time that NECA puts out all the different versions that they're going to put out, you're pretty much going to have every version of Pennywise that you'd possibly want. I think they're almost there between the 3 versions that, or the 4 versions that have come out or have been announced. So that's really cool. And even though I like this figure a lot, I don't know if I'll backtrack and buy the standard version or the GameStop version, but I might pick up the one that's coming out later this year with the big spider arms. I think that's really cool. And I really think that companies like Mafex and Mezco, both of which have announced Pennywise figures, are going to have a really hard time competing with these NECA versions, because the NECA ones have so much going on and they're so much cheaper. And really, if you wanted to buy all the NECA ones, like, you know, if you bought 3 or 4 of the NECA ones, that would probably cost you around, you know, 100 to like 120 bucks. You're almost paying that amount if you buy a Mafex or Mezco one, you know. So basically, you could pay for the NECA ones and get a lot more than you would for just paying for a Mezco one or a Mafex one, if that makes any sense. And I mean, I saw some of the accessories that the Mezco one's gonna come with. It pretty much comes with the same amount of accessories as one of the NECA ones, you know. So, but yeah, I think Mafex and Mezco are gonna have a really hard time competing with the NECA one, because this is just a really quality figure and it's not very expensive. And none of them, other than the GameStop one, have really shot up in price. So, you know, these are good figures. They're you could get them easy. They're affordable, and they're just a lot of fun, and they perfectly capture the character from the movie. So what more could you ask for, you know? And hopefully one of these days NECA puts out like a box set or multiple 2-packs of the Losers Club. That way Pennywise has someone to face off against. I think that would be a lot of fun. And those characters were really cool. They were a lot of fun to follow through the movie. The dude from Stranger Things was hilarious in that movie. So yeah, that was a cool set of characters, and it'd be cool to have someone to beat up on Pennywise. So hopefully they do something like that. And before I get out of here, I just want to give a huge shout out to Toy News International for sending this figure out to me to review. I really appreciate it, guys. I was very pleasantly surprised, so thank you very much. And if you're interested in buying this figure, I'll leave a couple of Amazon links in the description below so you can check those out. Anyways, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. And thank you very much. Peace.